Trump and Kash Patel are telling the American people the Epstein files are done. Stop talking about it. There's nothing to see here, is what they have continued to say. Here's Trump saying, actually, Katie Collins from CNN, usually I don't defend CNN, but in this case I will, because Katie Collins asks a perfectly legitimate question. Sometimes CNN does that, asking Trump about the victims of the Epstein files. And this is Trump's reaction to her. Watch this.
Maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. She's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face.
Well, I'm asking you about survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. President.
You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
Now, actually, we're ashamed of you right now for obviously being part of a massive cover-up of elites who are clearly blackmailed and compromised and committing treason against the country, if you ask me. But there he is sitting in the White House telling Katie Collins, who's asking about, well, what about the victims? And he's sitting there saying, nothing to see here. It is a Democrat hoax. And then he goes on, I'm kind of creepy, that as she's asking about the Epstein files, which is about abuse of women, centers around abuse of women, he sits there and says, and you don't smile. You're a young woman and you don't ever smile. Okay. Right. Trump says it is time to move on from the Epstein files.
Time for the country to get onto something else, really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than there was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about.
So that was what he said before Katie Collins says, well, what about all of these victims? And he's sitting there saying, let's just move on. There's nothing to see here. Nothing about me. Oh, because it's all about you, isn't it? I mean, look, I don't think anybody denies the guy is a narcissist. But I mean, it is just really awful that there's clearly victims. There's clearly bad things that have happened. And rather than saying, he's for getting justice for these Americans, for these people who've been harmed, he instead says, well, there was nothing about me in it, so let's all move on. Even though there actually was plenty about him in it. But he doesn't want to address that at all. Kash Patel also says time to move on. We're done with the Epstein files.
The Epstein files, the last tranche, we're told, put out. Looking back since the beginning, and you've been a part of talking about this, and DOJ has obviously produced these elements. Do you have regrets about how it's been handled?
Look, like any other hot topic issue, the American public and the world had a great interest in this. And what we did under President Trump's leadership is produce the most transparent DOJ and FBI in history. 3 other administrations had the opportunity to do this, and we produced everything we legally and lawfully could. We worked with our partners in Congress, we followed the statutes and the court orders, and we produced, 3 million some pages. So I think we got to the result in the right way. Could we have gotten there faster? I'm not really sure, because of numerous court cases, multiple protective orders, multiple court sealings. And so now we've produced everything we can while protecting victims' rights.
And so that's it. We've done it. That's all you're going to get, everybody. Even though a lot of things were redacted, a lot of things that should not have been redacted, which we're going to get to here in just a second. But just to show, more of these shills, propagandists, I'm not sure what to call them, but Katie Miller being one of them. She now hosts a podcast. She's Stephen Miller's wife. And she says the Epstein files is a Democrat hoax perpetuated on the American people. Why didn't Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, or Bill Gates push for Epstein's arrest or prosecutions of serious wrongdoings by their friends during Obama or Biden years? In President Trump's first term, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and jailed. In his second, he's released the files. It's curious, why didn't these Democrats want justice before? Oh, Trump didn't want to do any of that either. Have you just been not paying any attention whatsoever to the news, Katie Miller? Probably not. But there she is, by the way, married to a giant Zionist who's probably, complicit in some way, or maybe not complicit. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but because I don't know. But I think every Zionist, every ultra Zionist is complicit, whether they were involved or not directly. They're complicit in it by cheering on the yeah, okay, this is fine. It's used for the state of Israel. And so therefore, all good. Nothing to see here, of course, is what Katie Miller says. Trump goes on and says the same thing. I want to play this longer clip of Trump talking, him just going on about, well, this was a conspiracy against me is what this was. That's what this was this whole time. I mean, just a total narcissist.
Of Epstein, I will say this, a reporter named Wolf and Epstein conspired. This just came out yesterday in the millions of pages of documents, how crazy this is, conspired against me in order to fight like hell to make sure I lose the election. That's the only thing that was mentioned about me. Now, about Democrats, some really bad stuff, but about me, that Wolf, whoever Wolf is, he wrote a book, a couple of books, and Epstein conspired against me. Did you know that, Mr. Senator?
I did know that.
They conspired against me, so I lose the election, or worse. So that takes care of Epstein as far as Trump is concerned. But you got a lot of Democrats out there that are very much involved with Epstein. But I'll be honest with you, you got to get back to running the country too. Millions and millions every week. When Epstein was alive, nobody cared about him. When he's dead, they care about him. But it's really a Democrat problem. It's not a Republican, it's a Democrat problem. The only problem Republicans have is that we have to get back to, number one, running our country, and then number two, very importantly, letting the public know what a great job we're doing. We have the greatest economy in the history of the world. We have $18 trillion being spent. The record was $3 trillion many years ago, not by us, by another country. I won't say the country. Yeah, please.
So it was just a big conspiracy is what it was. So everybody just needs to move on and talk about how great the economy is. That's it from him, apparently. He's not obviously the only one. There's a lot of people that are defending that, saying the same sort of thing. This is somebody I found really surprising, taking this stance, and this is why I want to share this video clip. This is Batya Ungar-Sargon, and I've always really liked Batya a lot. I worked with her. She was a fill-in when I was with Rising on the Hill. She has now gone on to host her own show on News Nation called Batya. The beef that I do take with Batya is that she is a big Zionist, from my understanding. She's very much for pro-state of Israel. She does criticize Israel more than maybe other Zionists do, but I do think she is. And so, again, a lot of Zionists just really saying nothing to see here with these Epstein files. Nobody cares about these files. Let's move on from these files. And she has disappointed me by being another one of those touting that same line. Here she is.
I'm just, okay. I really agree with the president. I think that most Americans just do not care about this. This has been an obsession of elites on the right and now elites on the left. Elites on the right were obsessed with it when they thought they could use it to hurt leftists. And now the left is obsessed with it because they think they can use it to hurt the right.
Okay. Except all the polls show that average Americans want to know what's in those files. It's actually the other way around, Batya. The elites don't want anything to do with these files. It's everybody else who does. So when you say you're representing the common working man and saying they don't care about the Epstein files, yes, they do. Because they believe, the common working man believes that the government is bought off, blackmailed, and bribed. And the Epstein files showcase that really clearly. And the average person actually does care about that. That is why the average person feels like they're not getting their needs met, because they think the government is just in it for themselves. And the Epstein files actually showcase that. So yeah, actually people do care about what is inside of those Epstein files. This is not some sort of elitist desire. This is actually, the elitists don't want us to see what's in these files. So clear as day. Let's show you some of these redactions. This is one of the things people are really upset about. It's not just that there are still 3 million more files that they're saying, oh, these are just duplicates. We don't want to release them to you. You mean they're duplicates unredacted, or they're duplicates that have information in it that might just be one line or one name, and you don't want to share that duplicate with us, that supposed duplicate. Maybe. This is the thing that's really pissing people off. This is pissing me off. They're redacting these names. Why are they redacting these names? We want to see the damn files with all the names. And that includes all the people that Jeffrey Epstein had in his inner circle. Sorry if that's embarrassing to you. If you're one of those people that happen to be hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, or worse yet, emailing him emails like this, thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Sent from my iPhone. Who the hell sent that from his iPhone to Jeffrey Epstein? Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have children. Well, there was a report that maybe he had a little boy. I guess there were some reports that he had a son, but that's not a little girl. And he certainly didn't have more than one, we don't think. But for this person to say your littlest girl was a little naughty, how old was this littlest girl? And who the hell are you? We want to see these unredacted names. That's what we want. We want to know who these perps are. But they don't want to give that to us. Here's another email. They've redacted the name. They redacted the name. These people don't deserve their names redacted. We want to be able to question them and say, what little girls were you talking about? Here's another one. This one is Happy New Year. Yes, I'm here. Just got my visa. Jeffrey Epstein had asked, are you home? So this person says, yes, yeah, I'm here. Just got my visa. I'll go to the 2B Riga agency tomorrow if you want. I'll walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird and they're not so tall. Now, the 2B Riga agency's in Latvia. Okay. So they trafficked girls in from Latvia. I see. Why is this name redacted? We want to be able to question this person. What agency did you go to? What little girls are you talking about? Did you do any deals with these little girls? What was Jeffrey Epstein doing? It's not like he ran, some sort of an agency where he could help models get jobs. That wasn't his job. That wasn't what so why would this person be emailing Jeffrey Epstein and saying, I've got some girls? Okay, well, what would Jeffrey Epstein be doing with the girls, with his line of work and what he was doing? Nothing. He was supposedly a financial manager of some kind or an advisor. I'm not really sure what he was doing. We want to see the damn names. Here's another one. This is from Rebecca Jones. She posts, the Trump regime hid the identity of one of the pedophiles in the Epstein files. His name is Robert Trivers. Here's the article published on that day by Reuters in which he makes that disgusting comment. And this is the email. And in this email, it says, this is an email to Jeffrey Epstein it's redacted, but she's saying that she knows that it's Robert Trivers, and we're going to show you the evidence of that. But he says, hate letters pouring in off the Reuters piece, one of which I answered, as you saw. But in a day or two, The Guardian will come out with the lengthier piece in which they tried to trap me and succeeded in good part because it was Sunday and I was already enjoying myself. So he's like probably having too many drinks. So he's like alerting Jeffrey Epstein to, whoops, I let something slip. Whoops. This is what I let slip, he says. The key are the 14 to 15-year-old girls. I am a sexual pervert because I say they are now of reproductive age. I do hope there is no legal jeopardy for you in this new flurry of activity, and my heart goes out to you, brother. Being called a sexual pervert is no fun. Less so if you have served time for the crime. As I have not, they are calling me one merely for not urging your death by beheading. We'll be back in touch. Hope you're fine and more than well protected. And this is the article that came out, and it was Reuters article. And in this Reuters article, it says at least this is something that Robert Trivers had said. He said at least two grant recipients this is from the article. At least two grant recipients in academia are standing by Epstein, saying he remains a friend. Krauss and Robert Trivers, a Rutgers University biologist. Trivers said Epstein is a person of integrity who should be given credit for serving time in prison and for settling civil lawsuits brought by women who said they were abused. Quote, did he get an easy deal? Did he buy himself a light sentence? Well, yes, probably compared to what you or I would get. But he did get locked up, Trivers said. He said he got about $40,000 from Epstein to study the relationship between knee symmetry and sprinting ability. So he was on the payroll, essentially. Trivers also said he believes girls mature earlier than in the past. By the time they're 14 or, quote, by the time they're 14 or 15, they're like grown women with 60 years. They're like grown women were 60 years ago. So I don't see these acts as so heinous, he says. So he's like, it's fine to abuse 14-year-old girls. Who cares? They're women now, is basically what he's saying. And Robert Trivers, if you're wondering who he is an evolutionary biologist. And he was at Harvard University was his alma mater, and he worked at Rutgers University. So that is who that guy is. But he's there saying, but we now know who that is, even though they did redact the name in the email. So these are the types of things we want to see whose names are in these emails, but particularly these other names, about the little girls, your littlest girl was a little naughty. Okay, we want to know who the hell that is so that we can talk to them and ask them, what little girl are you talking about? Or this one, there's little girls at this modeling agency. They have good bodies, but the faces are weird and they're not so tall. Like, what the hell is going on here? Why can we not see these names? We want to see these names. Who are you protecting? Oh, we're protecting the victims. These are not victims. These are perpetrators. Here's one person named in the files that says, whoops, my biggest mistake was making friends. I shouldn't have made friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
Every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
Part of that issue of trust brings me to Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know what your relationship with him was.
Yeah, I met Jeffrey in 2011. So over a period of 3 years, I had a number of dinners with him. The focus was always, he knew a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. In retrospect, that was a dead end, and I've said many times, but I'll say again, I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? But, it just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Is it frustrating to you, given what you've said, that this is now happening?
Not really. I mean, people should, hold people who are successful to a very high bar. And so, it's, as these documents come out, they're going to be closely scrutinized.
The emails that he's talking about are the emails claim that Bill Gates contracted an STD after having sex with Russian girls. And interestingly, what other people had uncovered is around the same time that these emails came out saying that Bill Gates had contracted an STD from these girls is the same time that Bill Gates came out with a campaign for he would give somebody $100,000 to develop a condom that felt more real. But he's saying it's not true. No, those aren't true. Those are just fabricated about me. Yet there you are with an STD and you're like, oh, I'll give somebody $100,000 to help me find a condom that feels better. Yeah, okay, real believable. I don't think anybody believes anything that guy says.